What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Bitcoin has finally seen some volatility to the upside here, and we are now testing an extremely key level of resistance. So in today's video, I want to give you guys a little bit of an urgent market update as Bitcoin has seen that nice move of about 12%. And I want to talk to you guys about the possibilities of this move continuing, some of the things we were looking at on Friday night's live stream that made this pump not too shocking. And I also want to cover those higher time frames, which you guys know are looking a little bit more bearish. Is this just a retracement to come up for a lower high and a big move to the downside? Or are we finally seeing strength in the market? Are we going to shock everybody and get that huge move to the upside? I'm going to break it all down in today's video. So buckle up, Mafia. It's going to be a good one. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart. And as you guys can see, we have gotten a nice little move here of about 12% on Bitcoin since Friday. And this is extremely exciting because Bitcoin has been quite boring recently, so it is nice to see that volatility come in, but we are testing some resistance, guys, so I do want to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about what we were looking at on Market Cypher B to potentially anticipate this move to the upside, and we did look at this on the live stream on Friday, and most of those signals did lie on the higher daily time frames as we were starting to print these green dots, not only on the 3-day, but also the 4-day and now the 5-day. And then if we come up to the 6-day and the weekly, you guys can see that VWAP is creeping up towards that zero line, which could print another green dot here, and that could potentially continue our move to the upside. Now, as you guys know, it's not all rainbows and butterflies because as we've looked at time and time again on the live stream, this money flow is continuing to the downside here on the higher time frames, which could indicate a much longer term downtrend on the horizon. So are we about to come up, put in a lower high, and then get the real move to the downside, or have we finally flushed out all the paper hands here for a massive move back up to higher highs? Now, if we do bring up the actual TA here, guys, I want to talk about some of the stuff that we've been looking at on the live streams. And as you guys know, Bitcoin has kind of been sitting here in a sideways range after that big drop to the downside. This is typically where we look for the day trades and the little scalps and potentially find long entries before the breakout. And although we did have some long setups down here, I did not personally take the long position, but that's okay because I am still holding longs from much, much lower, and there will always be another opportunity on the chart. There is no reason to FOMO into a trade. It is extremely dangerous and will build bad trading habits, so please don't do that. Please protect your capital. But either way, guys, we had price bing-bonging around sideways in this range, and we knew that if we broke out of here, the next likely place for price to go would be the POC 786 or even daily naked point of control at 61K. This is specifically what we were looking at on the live stream, and you guys can see we approached that previous value area low, flipped the value area low to support, got to move right to the POC, and then we even got a breakout for higher prices, bringing us all the way up to that $63,400 level almost. And this is a very, very interesting level because if I hide the local TA here, guys, I will say we are approaching a very, very important level, which is the value area low of our macro range. And just like we were using these little mini ranges down here to give us context into where price may go next, aka that next little area of value, which we knew is sitting right up here within this range. But we're basically doing that same thing on an even higher time frame here as we are testing the macro value area low of the range, sitting at about where we are right now, at about $63,300. And this is an extremely important level of resistance to flip to support because that could potentially give us the acceptance into our larger volume profile. And if you want higher prices for Bitcoin, this is what you want because we will be looking to flip that value area low to support and then eventually, hopefully, get a move to our POC. And then once we can flip that, we can come back up to the value area high. However, this would be the extremely bullish case here, guys, because one thing to understand is we have a lot of resistance above. We have a lot of work to do before we get out of the woods here. But for now, as far as seeing this 12-hour money flow and 16-hour money flow starting to curve back up towards that zero line, this is starting to look somewhat good for a potential continuation to the upside. Not only do we have the 16-hour money flow coming up, obviously we have the 12-hour, and then the 10-hour money flow has already crossed over into the green. So if we are going to see these higher hourly time frames continue into the green, we would have to anticipate potential continuations higher. So I'm going to talk about those key targets to the upside in case that is what we're going to see and we are going to get higher prices to come here very soon. I want to talk about those key levels as well as where we should be looking at for potential lower highs because remember, guys, if that higher daily time frame does wind up continuing out and crossing over into the red, I will be looking for a lower high up here as price is likely to come up in here, test that POC, and put in that lower high and continue to the downside. I know this feels like a very bullish move, and it may be indeed because that money flow on the higher time frames can fake out, but we have to be aware that the 2-day and and 3-day money flow are still technically bearish, and we have to be at least open to the idea of putting in those lower highs. But until then, with the 12, 16, and 10-hour money flow, we could potentially continue up into this range, but we have to be very careful around very specific areas. So golden pocket weekly naked point of control sitting right here between $65,484 and about $64,823, sitting between about $65,500 and about $64,860. We also have a weekly naked point of control coming in here at about 65K. So this is definitely going to be that next target to the upside that I would be paying attention to. If we do get above this value area low and daily naked point of control, you kind of have another really important area of resistance right above you. And then if we are able to break above that level and come into this POC 786, this, in my opinion, is going to be a very, very important level of resistance. This is coming in between 68,112 and 66,903. And the reason I am looking at this as an extremely important level, guys, is because this is going to be not only the POC of the range, which we know sometimes when price breaks down out of a range, it likes to come back up in there and test that POC before a big move down, right? We've seen this many times. We talked about it on the live stream before. Not only that, though, right? It's not just that POC, but also the fact that we have that 786 retracement level, and this is the full 786 Fibonacci retracement level when pulled from the high to the low of this entire drop to the downside. So this, in my opinion, is going to be right now the most important level to get above, which again is sitting closer to $66,000. But again, if we see that higher hourly time frame money flow continue to the upside and we get above these levels here, I do think it is possible to see that price come in. And then at that point, we have to reassess the situation, look at that higher daily time frame money flow, see if it's faking out back into the green. And if it is or isn't, that will change our decision that we make at this level. If money flow is looking bearish and everything is looking like it wants to come down at this level, we have to look at this as the danger zone of a potential massive lower high for lower lows to come in, because it is the Fibonacci retracement of this entire move. So short term, as you guys can see here, the VWAPs are coming down a little bit on the higher hourly time frames. We did just get a very big move up, so maybe we kind of wiggle around down here just a little bit before coming back up into the range, because the VWAP would say maybe a little pullback, but once that money flow continues up, that trend is more likely to continue up into the range. But then when you zoom out a little bit more, we have to understand that it might just be to put in that lower high and continue to the downside. But that's a decision we have to make when we get to those levels. So right now, guys, we are praying that although we may kind of bing bong around here, remember, price always likes to find balance in the market. So as we bing bong around here, once you leave that balance, you are going to be hunting out old previous value areas or areas of balance. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do wind up kind of just chilling out here a little bit. I would not be surprised if we do wind up kind of just bing bonging around these two levels, or even potentially coming back into this range before finally making that next move back up to higher prices. But again, at this point, with the higher hourly money flow here, I would be more interested in potential higher lows to come in before continuing up, keeping our eye on that high time frame 2-day, 3-day money flow, hoping that it fakes out back into the green so we don't have to endure another drop to the downside and we can just see higher prices come in here. So guys, those are the next major key levels of resistance I will be looking at. Let's see if we could get to 65K. That would be the next kind of key target if we do continue up that I'd be looking at before finally hitting that POC of the range, which is for sure going to be a point of interest and a potential danger zone. So with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time I got for today's video. Hopefully this helps you guys out, keeps you updated with those levels and kind of what I'm expecting here in the market. The higher hourly money flow does look pretty good for a continuation up, but remember that 2- and 3-day money flow will overpower that in the long term unless we see those fake out into the green. So we're on the right track, but not necessarily out of the woods just yet, but it does feel good. It feels like a strong bounce. So I'll have to see what happens. We'll just continue to trade the charts in front of us. And with all that being said, shout out to the Mafia. I'll see you guys on tonight's live stream at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these urgent market updates. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide.